The war on terrorism is just a phase in this war that has begun almost 6,000 years ago. It is one of the battles that the devil has employed to really win the world and take over this world. The first war was in the Garden of Eden when he attacked Eve and persuaded her, and she handed him the world. But she hadn't authority, nor Adam had authority. It wasn't their world, and so they couldn't give it to him. So that although he defeated them, he still didn't gain control of the world because the world doesn't belong to him. He has influence in it, but he doesn't own it. He doesn't control it. And he forgot this, and he's been trying all through the ages to really bring the world to a place where he could call it his own. Um, the Crusades, just name them. But coming down to the Second World War, they say this was the war to end all wars. But basically, this was the Antichrist using Nazism, which I guess was the most powerful ideology at that time to take over the world, and then they would have taken it from him through some maneuver that was yet to be seen. And so most of the wars that we've seen in the world are designed in one way or another to accomplish this. Now, I bet don't get too deep in this here, but let me look at the war on terrorism. The enemy chose the war on terrorism because this was the only way you could defeat the Europeans today, these modern nations. They have you can't come to no conventional war because you're lost. As soon as you step out, you're going to shoot you up, right? You're driving to go to the battlefield, they're going to knock you up. Knock up all your supplies and everything else, and the war is over in a couple of days. We saw where Israel, whatever, maybe people fought it through Israel's name, I don't know what, but they wrap up the Jews, them Arabs in a week. And so this was just a phase, and as I said, this is the way, he figured that you have to fight nuclear nations. Bring terror to them. You're going to have one man fighting a whole army. They put out a couple $1 million worth of assets, and just one guy can come out there and shoot with them. They can kill him after a month, and they spend a couple billions of dollars, and then the next one come out. So in a way like that, you're going to spend yourself to the grave, and still just a couple men that you really was able to defeat, and then they'll keep coming at you. And they almost did it because the world almost collapsed, bankruptcy, and so the enemies keep pushing to bankrupt the world, and as the Bible says it, and create such chaos that the world is going to wander after him. Right? And so people are rejoicing that the Middle East is in upheaval right now, the revolutions and so on, so that terrorism has been stopped, and I think it might be permanently, or because like Nazism still continues, you can still have a little bit of terrorism here and there, but this won't be the major thing he's using again. He's using now was the upheaval in the Middle East, and while it might slow down terrorism, he has changed his tactic now, and note carefully, the principle is to bring the first world to its knees, bankrupt the world. Okay, so as the Bible says, you can't buy or sell except you have the mark, because so many people can be in debt, so many nations that they can just have to go for a cashless system, something like that. All right, and so I think the new phase is this thing in the Middle East. Would that accomplish it? I don't know. Maybe he has to go to something else. It's just like drugs, the war on drugs. Drugs was another phase of it. In fact, I think the drug war is a complement to other things that he's doing, because what has happened is that when people use a combination of drugs, crack, marijuana, heroin, or whatever, their minds become so debilitated that eventually they can become very dependent and handicapped. Well, some others may not go to that extreme because they have resources, they have good nutrition, good health care, and the whole 9 yards. But whenever you mess with drugs, your mental capacity diminishes, so that while you could have lifted a pound up with your brain, you might end up just being able to do 5 pounds after sweating. And that is what drugs does to the mind, bring it from that strength of lifting 100 pounds to 5 pounds. And Sometimes people die, before they could even come to the 5 pounds of weightlifting. Shootout with the cops, shootout with other narco terrorists and so forth. But the issues of today are going to be so profound that people who have messed with drugs are already lost. They can't figure it out. They're going to lose the minds, as the Bible says, in the end time. Men will be losing their hearts for fear, worrying about what is coming upon the earth. You know what I mean? So, while trying to bankrupt the world, he's also trying to harm the minds of people. Because also God gives us wisdom through our minds. He communicates to us through our minds. And when the mind is harmed, like the way drugs can, it's almost over. God will have a plan to rescue people who genuinely are reaching out to him. He knows how to do it, and he knows who these people are, and he's going to find a way to get through to them. But whole scale, the war, drugs, and the various phases of the battle for Armageddon. This is going to be the final battle. When everything else failed, this is the one he's going to try. So the battle for Armageddon has begun from the Garden of Eden and comes through all the battles or phases of the battle for Armageddon. Except that this final one is going to be when he makes it clear that these people who are serving God are the enemy. And they're the ones that causing all the natural disasters and the financial thing. When it's the guys on Wall Street and them scientists, men that trying all kinds of stuff, and military people with the various experiments that causing the problems. But you can blame it on the Christians, just like when Caesar burned the city and blame it on the Christians. And so terrorism was just a phase that was used, and it almost accomplished what it should have done. The world almost got bankrupt. And so it's going to a new phase now, democratizing the Middle East. And who knows how this is going to go. Maybe it's going to drag them in again and cause another run on bankruptcy. And perhaps they're going to avoid it then. And it's going to come with something else. But the whole bottom line is drugs and these various phases going to dovetail once and bring us to the brink. So this is my take on the battle, the war on drugs so far. I mean, the battle, the war on terrorism.